Welcome to Hustle and Heart TV. I'm Darieth Chisholm. How cool would it be for you to create and have your own television show, radio show, and column all about your favorite hobby? You're going to meet Justin LaBar, a pro wrestling columnist who's doing just that. I sit down with him inside of his Chairshot Reality Studios, and we talk all about his hustle and why he loves what he does. Up next on Hustle and Heart TV. Like so many entrepreneurs, I'm drawn to the glamorous, gorgeous, larger-than-life, iconic ideas and outcomes that represent success. I'm amazed at just what it takes to truly be a standout, a rock star, a millionaire, a trendsetter. It ain't easy, but somebody's got to do it. So why not you? I know it takes hard work and hustle to make things happen, but I also believe it's a matter of heart. We can manifest our greatest desires with a little less sweat equity and a little more divine guidance, plus be equally inspired by someone else's life story. I'm Darieth Chisholm. I'm here to help you unleash, unlock, and bloom your dreams in business and in life. I'm a speaker, author, entrepreneur, life and business coach, media personality, and video podcast host. Every week, my team and I uncover dynamic, authentic, heartfelt conversations to help you leverage tools and resources, make more money, live the lifestyle of your dreams, become a rock star, and love your journey. Pro wrestling columnist and analyst Justin LaBar on Hustle and Heart TV. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So glad to be here, and we're inside the audio booth, just on the other side of the studio where you shoot your show.
Yeah, Chairshot Reality right here at the beautiful studios of Point Park University, which are constantly growing and being expanded upon as they're doing right now. It's great. I get to come back home. This is where I started my first on-camera demo reel in college.
You do, and your magic happens here as you certainly get the opportunity to share your passion around wrestling and with the world. I mean, with this show and, of course, with your column in the Trib. Tell me how you make it happen.
Every day it's something new. Every day there's literally something new I'm going to be producing, whether it's doing live tweeting, for the major weekly events like Monday Night Raw from WWE, or it's recording a radio show Tuesday, or doing short videos for the Trib Wednesday, or in the studio Thursday for Chairshot, or writing a column Friday and Monday for the Trib. It's just every day there's something new. It's I kind of treat it almost like a little bit like stand-up comedy in a way. What I mean by that is the week gets busier as it goes. So like as I start on Twitter, I'll kind of like feel out, okay, where's my opinion? Where do I stand on this? What gets a reaction out of people? What's funny? What's going to maybe, get some other emotion out of them? And we just keep building. Then we try it on a form of radio, then I'll take it to video. And then by the time we get to the end of the week with filming longer format video shows, I kind of have an act down, so to speak, of what my take is on the week's happenings.
You're really monopolizing media in every facet of it, from social media to radio to print, and then of course with your show and video. And I think that's so amazing, and it gives you the opportunity to talk about the thing that you're passionate about, but share it in multiple platforms.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, as a kid, I've been a wrestling fan since I was 3 years old, and so I've always wanted to be involved in it somehow. I knew I'd probably never be a wrestler. I was never the most physically fit or biggest kid in the class, so the fact that as I got older, technology and social media and all of this stuff has come about, has played right into me being able to follow my passion, and it's great because I realized with doing all these different whether it be for audio or print or video, I realized the audience I have does not cross over to all of them, which I think is good. So if I happen to say the same thing on two different broadcasts, if you will, I'm not necessarily cheating the consumer, because I have a separate audience that reads what I write, because they just like to read things. They like to be able to read real quickly and move on to the next thing. Other people like to download an audio podcast and listen to it on their spare time or on their way to work. And then other people like to sit down and engage with video and really leave comments and get interactive that way. So I couldn't be luckier in 2015 to be utilizing all the technology that continues to come out and find a way to make it benefit my career.
And really as an entrepreneur, because when it's all said and done, that's exactly what you are, and what you have to do every single day is to pump out this content to your selective audience. But doing it, as you say, on a multi-platform makes sense because people consume content differently, and you want to be able to reach them. The unique thing about what you do is you're talking about something that you grew up loving. And often, you know, when we can, as entrepreneurs, do what it is that we love, it's like you can do it all day, all night, and never get tired.
It's funny because my friends are all very supportive, and a lot of them are wrestling fans, my close friends. They don't like, I can't ever vent about having a bad day, because to them, you don't have a bad day. You work, you know, with what you love with wrestling, which I try to remind myself that. And it's tremendous. I mean, my grandfather worked helping promoters when I was growing up in the Maryland, D.C. area, and so I got to kind of see the behind the scenes there, you know, riding with these, you know, George the Animal Steel and these larger than life characters who I learned were just normal people too. And to see that end of it, and then to continue being a fan, and then to, you know, go to university to get a degree in broadcasting, and then take those skills and trade and, you know, evolve with the times and figure out a way to use it, and then get outlets to say, hey, this is valuable, I'll pay you for it. I mean, it's a lot of work, but a saying that I have with a friend of mine who's also in the wrestling business is, the dream is free, the hustle is not. And that's,
yeah. Well, around here we use the word hustle all the time.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I mean, and that's just it. And really, when you think about where you started, it came from very meager beginnings, and you've got to, in that process of believing in what it is that you want to do, see it through. And even in the very beginning, when it's not perfect and it's not done, and it doesn't make sense to those that are watching, it's your dream and your hustle.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, Chair Shot Reality video program every weekend on WrestleZone.com, which is one of the leading wrestling news sites. You know, Chair Shot, you know, we are approaching 300 episodes this winter, and it started like Wayne's World as like a basement production, and it was very, very bare bones, and it certainly had its, you know, rough edits and maybe, you know, and some miscues and bad lighting. But the growth of it made me appreciate now being in this space, you know, at Point Park, and it made me appreciate every viewer. Every time I'd look and I'd see our analytics and our viewership growing, and I'd get more people following me on social media, or more people recognizing me at a different city where a wrestling event was taking place. It makes me appreciate, okay, those 6 hours of tireless editing, you know, before we had a director in a control booth, it's worth it because somebody came up to me and said, hey, you get me through my weekend, or hey, I look forward to watching you when I get off work and I'm working this terrible job to pay for school, or whatever the story is. I've heard so many in which I love, and the fact that I can do anything in talking about my passion, and it brings some kind of joy to them each week, or even if they have the joy of disagreeing with me and just arguing with me, it's still, that's such an empowering but rewarding feeling.
Take me back to when you did decide to start your show, and you were in the basement, and you know, obviously were taking what you knew from your journalism degree from here at Point Park, but you still had to start a show. It wasn't like you were being backed by some major corporation. What was that like for you?
Well, it was a learning process, and it's still a learning process. Basically, the way it happened was, it was the summer of 2009. I had just graduated in May, or just walked and graduated in May, and WrestleZone, the wrestling site, they have they do have a big corporate backing. They're part of a giant network of male-oriented websites, and they were looking for more video content. You know, this is 2009, so, you know, video has become so much more popular. YouTube is continuing to grow, and they put out a basically request, almost like a want ad in a way, on their site of, hey, do you have any video experience? You know, maybe approach us. And I think they were just expecting maybe somebody to sit in front of a webcam and just kind of talk. I had reached out to them, gave them a little bit of my credentials, showed them some of my demo stuff from college and stuff that I was using to get out in the real world, and they jumped within a day. And we ended up just starting, you know, developing an idea for a show. And I said, there's a lot of people that do audio podcasts, and they just kind of really long form and talk about this and that. And there's a lot of people that can just talk on a webcam in their bedroom. I said, but what if we try to aim to a goal to having as professional as possible produced talk show where it's kind of like where there's a mixture of its professionalism. You know, we dress professional, we speak as professional as we can, but also still keep it as like just a couple of wrestling fans sitting around having a drink, talking, not, you know, trying to just talk and relate to the common fan. And it didn't obviously happen immediately. Again, we learned, okay, what works, what doesn't work, how should we shoot it, so to speak. It was an entire learning process, but immediately off the bat in those first probably 25 episodes, there was a core fan base that knew what we were trying to do, and they latched on, and they enjoyed what we were doing, and then they've been along for the ride ever since, and we've picked up a lot more people in the way.
Yeah, that's great, and I always like to see how things evolve in the beginning steps, and when you look back, you say to yourself, all right, when we made it through those early
I won't
days.
Even watch. Darius, when people, it's so funny because they have to remember, this is funny. I was 21 when that started. So I was 21 when that started. So obviously I've gotten older.
Not much.
Well, but I have gotten older. I grew facial hair. I put on weight. So
you got older.
Oh my God, people love to send me screen grabs of some of the early episodes and how terribly lit it was and how different it looks, like this weird reverse after to before commercial. and they just laugh, and I'm like, and they try to send me links. Oh, do you remember when you guys talked about this in 2010? I'm like, I don't even want to watch it, and I won't watch them.
It's hard.
It's hard enough for me to look at the screen grabs.
I know. I remember our early days with Hustle and Hard TV, and that, you know, that was only a year ago. But
right.
It's amazing how when you look back and you think like, oh, do I want to watch it? But you can appreciate where it came from, and that's a really important thing. We'll talk more about just what you guys are doing and your love for wrestling and your fans, because I know you really, really appreciate them, and we'll dig into that when we come back. Are you interested in learning more about podcasting and video podcasting and how you can build your brand, influence, and income through podcasting? I'd be happy to help. In fact, you can schedule a complimentary discovery session with me. Really simple. Just go to podcastingandyou.com. Leave me your name and your email. You might want to check out one of my upcoming trainings as well, or simply send me an email at info@dariethchisholm.com, and we'll get some time scheduled to discover how podcasting can help you grow your business and your brand.
Welcome to the Pittsburgh Marriott City Center, where all of your meeting, events, and travel needs can be met.
I'm Jamie Miller, your next Convention Service Manager here at the Pittsburgh Marriott City Center. Let me help you plan your next conference or convention. Using our new one-of-a-kind Meeting Imagines application or our mobile-friendly Redcoat Direct app, you will be sure to wow your next conference. Let me help you go brilliant.
Check us out online on Facebook at Pittsburgh Marriott City Center, or call today at 412-471-4000 to make your next event brilliant.
When it comes to food, family, and tradition, Atria's is your dining destination. Atria's has a passion for food, and it all starts with our culinary trained chefs. From the made-from-scratch rubs and dressings to the best in the burr crab cakes, Atria's prides itself in serving honest and real food. Come and see what makes us different at one of our 8 locations. We're now offering private dining, to-go, and full-service catering. Don't miss our 17th annual Oktoberfest starting September 8th, where you'll enjoy the most authentic German cuisine that Pittsburgh has to offer. Atria's, we're always changing courses.
Hi, I'm Jared Show, and I'm the director of Bigfoot the Movie, and you're watching Hustle and Hard TV with Darieth Chisholm.
Justin, your fans, you obviously owe a lot to them because they've been supporting you over these last 5 years as you've really evolved and really stretched, if you will, kind of the framework of what it means to deliver great content around wrestling.
Yeah, the fans pro wrestling fans are the most unique fans ever, and I don't want to talk like I'm not one of them because I am, but obviously I have a different viewpoint because they're my consumers, so it's weird. They are the most unique fans of anything. They are so loyal, so dedicated, and they're also very territorial. So when they find something they like, such as a chair shot reality or somebody like me talking about wrestling, they're very loyal, which that's great. If they find, again, but on the flip side of it, if they hear you say something or an opinion they don't like, they will not let you forget it, and they will hold on to it. So it's a very interesting relationship to have, because on the one hand, doing all the different things I do, I'll constantly get feedback, which I love, and I want feedback. But there is a share of it that's going to be negative. Just unfortunately, that's just how it is, with social media and people's opinion. That's just what it's going to be. And I mean, it can get me frustrated, especially if it's. I don't care if they disagree with my opinion, but obviously, if people want to go and start taking cheap shots, that can get frustrating. But then at the same time, because pro wrestling is so unique, and because doing things how I do with as like an entrepreneur, you can't avoid, I can't afford to just be telling people, well, don't watch. I mean, I appreciate every fan I have. I have to appreciate their negative response. It's such a weird relationship, but the fans definitely makes it so much fun, because it's one thing to get to talk about a passion and do it and let it occupy your week. But again, when you have people that attribute such happiness and entertainment to you, or when you inspire people, one of the greatest things I love every time I go to New York City. There's a gentleman there. He's still been a great fan and supporter of me. His name's Cody, and he always had the passion for making Lego models. Now he's in his 30s, but he loved making Lego models, but he loved also pro wrestling, and he's heard me talk on my shows. He's watched me come up, so he's basically witnessed my biography firsthand, and he's always very involved with me on social media and listening to my shows. And he still gives me credit today, which I think is awesome. He now has his own shop and business in New York City where he can make a portrait of somebody. He can make a giant 20-foot Lego design of a company's logo. He can make the models you see at Times Square. He has this thriving, successful business. Several publications in New York just did a story on him. He's making 6 figures now a year. And he constantly, in interviews or when talking to people, patrons or whoever, gives me credit, saying this guy who followed his dream to talk pro wrestling and who I'm entertained by, he inspired me. Because I've talked to him a few times and met him in New York before, and I would give him simple advice of not giving up and hustle and heart and just following your dream. And he gives me this credit, and I still can't. It's still hard for me to articulate that and understand that I could, in any which way, in any small way, inspire somebody to do something as unique as that is and as successful as he's doing it. And he's since made me, championship belts out of Legos. He's made a portrait of me out of Legos. All just that kind of like little nice gestures. Inspiring fans by talking about a passion is just, again, it's the most rewarding feeling out of all of this.
And I totally understand that, because I think one of the most important things when you're living your dream and you're living your life is to obviously do it well and enjoy it. But if in that process you are encouraging others to be successful, I mean, that is such a rewarding feeling, and you're able to experience that and do it so much so, that if you get some, acknowledgement back, it's thanks, but I'm not looking for it. But when you get it, it just makes you feel really good.
It's something, I mean, obviously when I went into this, I thought about, okay, this would be great. When I started, I said, okay, this would be great if I can make pro wrestling my entire professional life and work day. It'd be great if I can make professional wrestling what pays my bills and buy a house. And there was nothing in my mind that was even, if I can do this and if I can inspire somebody else to start a business where they're going to, be super successful. I mean, that was never even, I never even knew that was possible. I didn't think that was even capable out of somebody talking pro wrestling. So it's just been one of those things that I've gathered and accepted and appreciated on the journey. And
you also, as I understand, have really turned this into some philanthropic opportunity as well. If I recall, I think I saw a video of a young man with cancer that was a huge fan of yours, and you were able to bring him here to Pittsburgh.
That probably, what you're speaking of, has to be the most rewarding thing I've ever done. There was a guy named Trevor. He lives in Riverton, Wyoming, and I knew his name, Trevor Ellison. He constantly, again, was another very loyal fan. I always saw his name. Emailed me during my radio show. Always followed, always had nice things to say. It was very engaging. And eventually, and he had followed for years, and then came a point where his wife, Amber, had actually got a hold of myself and one of my producers that helps produce Chairshot. And she said, hey, I just want to let you guys know, my husband Trevor, he's a huge fan and just singing our praises. He's been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. We have 2 kids. They love watching wrestling with him. It's a real, as you can imagine, hard time right now in our family. If there's anything you guys could do, also if you can send him an email, if there's anything you could do in any which way, I know he would just appreciate any kind of, you know, anything from you guys. And it was just such a moving story, and again, it added because I felt like I had some relationship with this guy already. He was just such a good supporter. So we got together and we sat over a post-filming meeting, and I said, you know, we got to do something more than just send him an email. Or I was like, you know, what else what power do we possess to help him in any which way? You know, obviously we can't cure his cancer with a snap of a finger, unfortunately. And we sat around and we thought, you know, what if we did something we've never done with any other fan, which is bring, you know, because we get fan requests. Oh, let me come on the show. I know I can out-talk you guys or this and that. I said, what if we brought him to the studio, let him not only watch Chair Shot, but we bring him on for a segment and just surprise him and, you know, Riverton, Wyoming, bring him across the country to Pittsburgh. He's never been to Pittsburgh. Show him around, and that's what happened. We ended up, you know, we got some help from some partners and sponsors in the area from us to help treat him as well as we could and take care of it financially for us. And we ended up bringing Trevor and his wife out here. And it was so cool because the way we did it to tell him is we recorded a special segment only for him that we put onto a DVD, got his address from his wife, mailed it to him. He had no idea of any of this. And then I said, make sure you film him watching this. So there she is filming with her cell phone. She calls him into the room. I mean, he just comes in the room. You know, what do you need? And the DVD player's having whatever. And he finally gets the DVD on, and he sees us, and we immediately start addressing him, and we tell him, "You're coming to Pittsburgh. You know, you're not in this fight, you know, alone. And we're, you know, if nothing else, we want to just give you a week just to make you smile, make you forget about what you're dealing with." And it was a tremendous week. You know, a lot of tears were shed, a lot of laughs were had, and it's great because that was a couple years ago, and now he is cancer-free. He beat it, and he legitimately has just become a friend of myself and my world. Has then my mutual friends have now become friends with him. He and his wife come out to WrestleMania, wherever WrestleMania is each year. They meet us out there and usually stay at the same hotel with us and just hang out like our friends, like with the rest of our friends, because they become friends with us. You know, I talk to him almost every day in some form or fashion, whether it's on social media or text, and it's just
priceless.
Yeah, and again, to be able to have people to support you and then be able to just do something so small. I mean, just that mattered to him, just coming out here and getting just to meet us and just hang out, and it's hard to articulate. I don't even know.
It is.
Sorry,
no,
I
it's
can't
priceless.
even get the words.
Yeah, no, and that's the heart of what you do,
yeah.
and that's what's so amazing about it. Now, you don't take this thing lightly either. You knew that it was really important. If you were going to do this and be a columnist and write and really pour your heart and soul in this, that you also needed to put some meat in the deal, some skin in the deal, so to speak. So
or blood,
or something like that. You've been hit a few times in order to. No way to do this. So when we come back, I want you to tell me about your times in the ring and you know, maybe some of those famous punches you received along the way.
Hustle, heart, and scars.
There we go. We'll have to rename it. By the way, be sure to make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you subscribe to the channel. That'd be fantastic. You can also head out to my website to subscribe and get more shows just like this incredible show that we're doing with Justin. That's easy to do at hustleandhearttv.com. For this episode, you can just look for Justin LaBar, and then of course we've got all of the other episodes there too. But I can't wait to find out about these punches and scars when we come back. Are you looking for a way to advertise your business, product, or service? Why not do it here on Hustle and Heart TV? We'd be happy to send you our media kit for show sponsorship and advertising. Reach out to us at info@dariethchisholm.com or give us a call at 412-692-1600 and we'll send you a media kit with all the information. The success in selling your home and getting the right price lies in the crux of your agent's ability to maximize your home's exposure to the largest number of qualified buyers. Each year, Dion Malish helps a family buy or sell a home every 5.5 days, so she's confident that her proven home selling strategies will sell your home. Dion and her team are not your traditional real estate agents. Unlike many agents who pound a yard sign, post to the MLS, then sit back and wait for your home to sell itself, Dion uses a proven, repeatable system to sell your home for up to 18% more in less time. Dion recently published 25 tips for selling a home in Pittsburgh, which is also available on Amazon. If you're thinking of selling your home, you can get a free copy by visiting www.25tipspittsburgh.com. You can also contact her at 724-554-3514 or email her at dion@northwood.com. CTC Booking, Travel, and Entertainment Cruise Productions, the world's leader in full-ship charter music cruises, announces 5 cruises featuring the best in jazz music entertainment. The Signature Cruise, Smooth Jazz Cruise, the Jazz Cruise, 80s Cruise, and Gospel Music Cruise. Sail for 7 days with the finest music and entertainment artists in the world. Go to jazzcruisecatalog.com and book your cruise today. So while you've never wrestled professionally, you have been in the ring.
Yes. Yeah, you know, this is, and this is where I guess I really go off the beaten path from anybody else that I can be compared to that talks about pro wrestling. My thought always was, you know, I always get annoyed when I listen to people, you know, like analysts talking really intently about football or hockey or whatever, and they've never played at any level. I just feel like it's just, I don't know, it's just a credibility thing, you know? I mean, you can have a way with words, but just a credibility thing. And again, pro wrestling is so unique of an art form and a sport. As I said, the fans are so territorial and so aggressive and loyal and protective. I thought, you know, I don't know if I need to get into this. And I mean, I've been a fan all my life, and I've seen it, I've been around it all my life because of my grandfather, whoever, but that doesn't necessarily qualify. I mean, I've never been in the ring. And I said, you know, what if I just did the best I could to try to learn some of in the ring, just have a better understanding, even just if it means just watching a match on television and maybe understanding things better, because it is a, you know, it's a very athletic, a lot of athleticism in it, but there is an art form and a ring psychology. They're telling a story, a good guy and bad guy. There's a lot to learn, and it's, you know, it's nothing you learn overnight, and I'm still constantly learning. But I started making an effort to get involved in independent wrestling. Now, there's a lot of independent regional territories. There's several in the Pittsburgh region, and it's kind of like the minor leagues. The guys get work and they get better and develop, and they hope to make it to WWE. You know, and so I started getting involved. I got my first promotion I got involved with was out in Cleveland. It was Pro Wrestling Ohio, which then became Prime Wrestling, and they were on DirecTV out in Ohio. So it was good. It was independent, but they had some cameras, so that there was obviously how to broadcast a wrestling show and how to film a match. And I started to get involved with them. I basically just took my persona of being Justin LaBar, the guy that talks about wrestling. They kind of inserted me into a storyline. This guy did not like me, this bad guy wrestler, and next thing I know, I'm getting, you know, next thing I know, I'm getting pushed around a little bit, and I kind of got eased into it, and then I started working with a promotion here in Pittsburgh, which I still work with now, called IWC, International Wrestling Cartel, and doing a lot more stuff with them. And again, they have a wrestling school, so I found myself in different situations knowing that I was going to have to be in the ring at a certain point with a wrestler and maybe get hit or maybe have to do this. So I, you know, wanted to learn how do I fall safely? How do I take a hit? How do I give something to somebody if I'm going to be a bad guy, you know, personality, I need to be, you know, cheating and running around the ring being, you know, swarmy. How do I do all this? And so I've gotten some exposure. I would not say I'm fully trained. I would not say I've paid my dues in the ring for years or anything, but I've gotten little experiences. I've been
you have an appreciation.
Yeah, and I've been thrown. And the funny thing is, I've been thrown around by some guys who, you know, I grew up watching and just as a fan enjoying. And now that, you know, and then you flash forward and you're, you know, you're this close to them and they're getting ready to hit you. It's just another one of those things that just I wake up and go, oh, this is my career, but I'm thankful. But appreciation it comes back to that. It allows me to, again, I watch matches different than maybe some of my other peers would. Not to say that I watch them better or that I have a better opinion, but I just think it provides a different insight. And I think some of my following appreciates and understands that. And I think some of the wrestlers that I've worked with at any level, whether it be still in the regional territorial level or all the way up to WWE, the ones that I've built any kind of relationship with or ever done something with, I think they understand, hey, he at least has made an effort to understand what we do.
What's the biggest challenge you faced so far in building this and in developing the show, the column, and all that you do?
Probably the negative stereotypes or opinions that can be about pro wrestling. You know, because there's so much information out there, some of it wrong, some of it right about pro wrestling. Some people just know, oh, it's this fake stuff, so why am I watching? Others attribute it to, oh, it's a steroid drug-filled world, and all these wrestlers have died because of it, and there's just a lot of misconceptions and just a lot of different varying opinions. You know, people can have opinions about football, baseball, basketball, hockey. And it's a lot easier for them to obtain because there's so much of it out there, and because they can easily walk down the street and go play basketball at their rec center, or they played football as a kid. You know, pro wrestling, again, it's such a unique thing. It's a secret traveling circus that there's just a lot of information that's can be thrown out there. So that's probably the toughest thing is just validity, you know, and that's where, again, I have to hustle as hard as I can and as much as I can, and then try to produce as good of viewing numbers and response to show my bosses, to let them know, look, this is worthwhile. You know, while there is some people that aren't never going to like pro wrestling, or there's going to be people that don't like the fact that the Trib puts pro wrestling in their sports section and they think it should be in the gossip entertainment section, there's always going to be that negativity. I said, but there is still a good crowd out there that cares about it and it's loyal, and that's probably the toughest thing I deal with. Even just general conversation, you know, some people, if they're not real receptive to it, you tell them, oh, I talk about pro wrestling for a living. How do you talk about something that has a predetermined finish? They don't understand that, and it's like, well, there's people out there, there's movie critics that talk about a movie that has a predetermined finish. I guess, you know, I kind of walk a line between a movie critic and a baseball analyst. I just walk. I take different attributes.
You follow it and you just expose it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's easy.
And that's part of the fun of me doing what I do, is that there was no blueprint of how chair shot reality should look or go. There was no blueprint of how the radio show should go. It's almost like I kind of made the rules up as I went.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about creating something that is your own.
Right,
yeah,
I wasn't filling anybody else's shoes.
Yeah.
I was just creating my own.
Making your own. Speaking of creating your own, why the name?
Chair shot reality?
Could have chose a lot of different things, but you came up.
Well, I wanted something in the infancy of creating this video show that we needed. I wanted it to be kind of like, you know, there's the term armchair, like Monday morning quarterback, armchair quarterback. Sometimes there's a term that wrestling fans will use online, you know, armchair booker. You know, somebody sitting at home saying, oh, this is how it should have gone, and this guy should win here. So I kind of thought like chair shot. I thought chair was there was a chair like sitting in there. Obviously, then there's the other meaning of chair shot, which is, you know, like a chair shot in wrestling. But then I thought, let's go back then to the analyst aspect, which is I'm giving them reality as I see it. I'm giving them my point of view, very authoritative. This is the reality. So then chair shot reality, as if I'm knocking them over the head with a chair. It has had so many meanings, I unfortunately I don't remember specifically like the entire spiderweb branch of how I got there. I remember I was jotting a lot of things down, and somehow I just got to that order, and just chair shot reality had a ring to it. And then over time, the fans just sorted the CSR. And then off of chair shot reality, I found I had something with the reality. I found I kind of like had a gimmick there that I was giving the reality according to me, whether they liked it or didn't, and I was making some people mad, making some people happy. So I took the reality, and you know, the radio show with the Trib was wrestling reality. And when I'm the bad guy in the ring getting beat up, I have a jacket on the back of it says reality check. You know, I found something to latch onto to
start to envelop the brand.
Everybody, I mean, you know this. Everybody has to have a brand. Everybody has to have a persona. And obviously, pro wrestling, there's no bigger genre where brand and gimmick and personality are. I mean, that's all that is. So I was like, if I'm going to talk about it and walk the line of being an analyst and a character, I got to have a gimmick too, and the reality just kind of came out of it.
So where does this gimmick, and certainly it is not one, but where are you taking this? What happens for you the next 5, 10 years?
As high as it goes. How things are now, I'd love to take any of what I do, chair shot reality, the radio show, the columns, or all three, to the highest point possible. Obviously, I'm continuing to always want the column to be read as much as it can be. It's doing great success with the Trib. I want the radio show to continue being distributed and downloaded and listened to as much as it can. With chair shot reality, the video show, obviously I want viewership to continue, but I've always thought, you know, is there a spot for it on television, on mainstream television? Is there a spot for, you know, I mean, there's so many channels and so many options out there on television. Is there a place for it where it could be the Jimmy Fallon of pro wrestling, where we can bring wrestlers on and we can talk about it and we can make some fun of it? Or, you know, I don't know, there's so many comparisons. I'd like to take it to the largest platform possible. That's with all that I'm doing now, and then me personally, obviously, to the highest point I can get. I'd probably say the highest point I could get, at least to find out if I can make it there, would be working for WWE in some kind of a creative capacity. I have a communication with them. You know, obviously they're aware of who I am because of what I do, and so whether or not I would be able to make it there or I'd be cut out to have a career there, I'm not sure. I think it's something I want to do to find out for sure if I can make it, and just tell myself I tried. But even if I ever got to that point and got to try to be somebody with creative input at WWE, and if it only worked for 2 or 3 years, I can at least then go back to doing things on my terms, go back to the babies that I built, and now I come back with even more credibility. Now it's not just credibility of, oh, I got beat up in a ring. Now I can say I went to WWE and I am a former employee there, and I can use those experiences and those networks. So I just want to get in front of as many people as possible.
It's clear you've been loving your journey.
I love it.
And you've really been
Absolutely.
hustling and loving this aspect of who you're becoming and what you're creating with all of the different media outlets, and exposing more people to wrestling. So I want to thank you so much for being on Hustle and Hard TV, yet another opportunity to share another great story and another video podcaster, which I absolutely love as well.
Thanks for having me, because you're the ultimate hustle and heart. I mean, with all that you've done. So I'm happy to be sitting next to you.
Thanks, and thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.
The award-winning Savoy restaurant has become synonymous with fine dining, upscale ambiance, and a great destination for local and national celebrities to enjoy the night in style. The Savoy has won multiple Savor Pittsburgh awards for its delicious menu. Our wine list was awarded Wine Spectator's 2012 Award of Excellence, and the Savoy has also won the American Institute of Architects' People's Choice Award for its beautiful architecture and design. For dinner reservations and more info, log on to savoypgh.com.
Are you looking for a career that pays great money, working with a fun group of people? I know, sounds too good to be true, right? Hi, I'm Troy Miles of the Miles Group.
We will train you, help you get your license, even supply leads. No cold calling.
I've been here 2 years and earned 6 figures this year.
I love my job.
I love the freedom and being my own boss.
If you would like to work among friends, have a great time, and make good money, call us.
Find out more at tmilesgroup.com.
Hey kid, let me tell you about the Soul Pit, and I want you to let everybody know about it. Soul Pit is what's happening in and around your city. Soul Pit is on the internet and around the globe. Soul Pit is on your block and in your car. Soul Pit is in your ear. It's in your hair. It's everywhere. Soul Pit is the latest news, hottest styles, culture, education, information, and more. It gets you ready for things to come. Hey kid, you know what the Soul Pit really is? It's a little something extra for your soul.